good morning, good morning, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tapping back in. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to see what I have to say. I promise y'all, it truly does mean the world to me. But with that being said, let's talk about what you're here for today. Quant Network. Yes, we're talking about Quant Network and their working relationship / partnership with Visa. Yes, we talked about MasterCard in a couple of my videos. Just go back, y'all, watch them. And I told you in that video, MasterCard is the second largest payment processor in the world, but they're only second to who? Visa. And if you don't think Quant is right there with Visa, then you're mistaken, okay? Follow me on this, okay? I got some more exclusive video coming from that live stream that Maximus Crypto and myself did earlier this week. And we're talking about Quant Network and Visa, y'all. Visa, the largest payment processor in the world, you guys. Follow me what I'm saying to you about Quant Network and what they are facilitating around the world. Follow me on this. But the first video is actually an interview. In this interview, you have a player from MIT, you have someone from the Bank of England, you have someone from Visa, and you have Mr. Gilbert Burdian himself. In this interview, it's an older interview. Follow me, listen to what's been said in the interview, because later on in this video, I'm going to show you more up-to-date information about Visa and Quant Network. Follow me on this. But this first video, not coming from me, coming from them.
And Charlotte, I'd love to bring you in because, you straddled these two worlds. You were at the Bank of England for years, just as it was starting to look at this quite seriously. You're now at Visa.
Thank you for that. Of course, I could go on for hours about the level of innovations that we put into this and the investment we make in things like efficiency and fraud prevention, but let me not do that for a second. I do think it's an important moment for central banks to, as Deputy Governor Lane described, really think about what a retail CBDC might look like. Because, as he also said, it's hard. The whole moving from a physical document that embeds effectively all of its aspects in that piece of paper, all of the fraud prevention, all of the knowledge that you can accept it is embedded in one piece of paper, to a digital world where that is effectively unbundled, the verification of it, the places you can use it, what happens if a transaction goes wrong, as well as when it goes right. That all comes apart in a digital world and is embedded in the physical world. So thinking that through is, I think, amazingly complex. But of course, one has to do it now. You don't want to do it at the point where countries decide that they've got to such a low level of physical notes that they must launch it immediately. And cash is a hugely important part of national sovereignty. There's not too many things that actually carry your country kind of with you. Maybe your driver's license, maybe your passport, and your note. So this moment in time, it has to be an important one. So I absolutely applaud them for doing the work now. I think the other great step that's been made recently is the G7 principles, which lay out how to think about the fundamentals of building particularly a retail CBDC. And there's some very important aspects in those principles that kind of constrain the outcomes. Up to now, the debate about what a retail CBDC can look like has included, everybody in the UK having an account at the Bank of England. And I can tell you, as the former chief operating officer, that's kind of a terrifying thought. But the G7 principle starts with do no harm to monetary policy on financial stability. Equally, they talk about the importance of resilience, which I'm sure Gilbert will come in on.
Thank you, Gillian. I completely echo the panelists and what Charlotte also said as well. So my background has been in HMG as well as in private sector. So during the financial crisis, I was at Treasury. And, believe it or not, the UK, we were the first country to look at the Satoshi paper officially as a policy. And that was a few weeks after it was released. And correctively, we concluded very early on that this technology is very early and it's too early to do anything about it. So that was about 13 years ago. Moving on from there, from a practical perspective, I've been, running the payment system in the UK at Vocalink, have the hands-on practical experience with a cybersecurity background, and we're looking at this at both sides and using both angles. CBDCs are here. I don't think anyone can argue against that. What we're seeing is a practical policy-led view of CBDCs, and every jurisdiction has different requirements. Some jurisdictions only want wholesale CBDCs, some want retail, and completely agree. The bank does not want consumers and businesses to call them and ask them about a payment delay or some issue. Central banks are just not geared up for that. HMG is not geared up for that, and that relationship always has to stay, with the banks and the consumer. From our recent experience on the practical sense, we're actually implementing the retail CBDC in Latin America for 12 countries, and this is really creating the Latin American dollar. It's a way to upgrade the financial infrastructure for these countries to 2022. Because most of them are using very old or antiquated methods of settlement and payment rails. Having digital assets really enables the growth of that economy and the cross-border flow of money and trade across those 12 countries initially, and then we're connecting that up to the US. So we've seen the practical benefit of a retail CBDC to...
See? I told y'all, you thought I was joking, huh? No, Quant Network and Visa in their working relationship / partnership, however you want to call it, literally, Quant Network is right there helping Visa build out their digital payment infrastructure and CBDC platform. Follow me on this, y'all. I know it sounds crazy, but it's factual. And I have more evidence to cement that Quant Network is right there. We just heard from Gilbert. We just heard from Charlotte from Visa. Now we're going to hop a little bit more into that live stream I was talking to you guys about in the last video. Yes, that 7-hour live stream that Maximus Crypto and myself did, you guys. But we're talking about Quant Network. Listen to what Gilbert said. Listen to his verbiage when he said our. He said, he didn't say Visa's project. He said our with MIT. Follow me. And if you remember that video, both MIT was on there, Visa was on there, so was Quant Network and the Bank of England. The Bank of Canada, sorry. But follow me on this, y'all. I'm going somewhere. Quant Network is a huge deal. You have MasterCard that has 25% of the market share payment processing. You have Visa, 65% of the market share payment processing. This is major, and for Quant Network to be facilitating this is incredible. Follow me on this. Here's that video coming from their live stream.
Gilbert Verdian mentions, very glad to see the reference and adoption of ODAP, Open Digital Asset Protocol by Visa. Our effort with MIT Connection Science at the Internet Engineering Task Force, right, the IETF, to standardize cross-chain and cross-network transactions and importance of digital asset interoperability at gateways. Kind of flew under the radar. September 30th, 2021, making digital currency interoperable. Visa shares new thinking on cross-chain interoperability. And there it is. Universal payment channel. Imagine splitting a check with your friends when everybody's at the table using different types of money. Some using CBDCs, goes into all these examples. Look at this, automatically having the funds automatically converted to digital pounds, British pounds, use it across multiple networks, multiple digital wallets. Why did I mention that? Compatibility with multiple digital wallets. A little bit more about this. Not so distant future. We are literally in the not so distant future. It could be a reality, getting close to there, solving all these problems, cross-chain interoperability. Again, back to everything we outlined tonight. In other words, how do you get different digital currencies relying on different tech stacks, different protocols? Again, protocols, different compliance standards. ISO TC 307, working with what? ISO 222. Market requirements, talk to each other, wider networks of value. Remember Gilbert Verdian creating the Internet of Trust and the Internet of Value. And look at this for a second. Visa's research product teams will have developed a new concept to move the conversation forward. We're calling it Universal Payment Channel at the time. Now it is what? The UDPN. And it acts like a hub, interconnecting multiple blockchain networks, allowing for secure transfer of digital currency. SATP, Secure Asset Transfer Protocol. Protocols with digital currencies. Digital currencies connecting to hubs. Hubs, an interconnected world with a universal payment channel. Think of this as a universal adapter, right? Let's give an example. Among blockchains, allowing central banks, businesses, and consumers to seamlessly exchange value no matter what the form factor is of the currency. Right. Even in the form of what? Let's get into a little bit more about this. We're excited about the mechanics. Obviously, we are too. cross-chain interoperability, why it matters. I'm not going to get into all that. But this whole thing of needing a universal payment channel and how that's connected to Quant and understanding the bigger picture. Central banks, the tech stacks, designing protocols, the whole thing of like factors like governance, market requirements, technology providers, compliance standards. We're going to always pound that home. Nation-specific what? Priorities into consideration. As the number of digital currency network increases, each with unique design characteristics, the likelihood that consumers, businesses, and merchants are transacting on the same network and utilizing the same type of money decreases. We believe, as in Visa, this is not me, for CBDCs to be successful, they must have two essential ingredients: great consumer experience, widespread merchant acceptance. It means the ability to make and receive payments regardless of currency, channel, or form factor. That's where Visa's UPC concept comes in. Few people knew about it. So let's talk about this, Channing. Let's talk about this, brother. Let's talk about QNT.
What a lot of people don't realize is with ISO TC307, MasterCard was a participating member, but Visa was an observing member of ISO TC307. So they've been right there the whole time.
Thank you. Yes, they've been there the whole time. A network of blockchain networks. I'm going to come in and zoom into it a little bit more. Emphasis shouldn't be on me or Channing, but the darn material, right? The story of UPC begins in 2018. Visa research team, a group of scientists and engineers focused on emerging technologies, became developing a framework for interoperability that would work across different blockchain networks, be independent of an underlying blockchain mechanism. What is that mechanism? Universal Payment Channel Hub. And now we have the best part of that. And now the UPC Hub concept emerged, would be connecting the whole thing of blockchain networks, allowing the whole thing of connecting CBDC networks between countries, connecting CBDC's networks on vetted private stablecoin networks, like we said. Trusted blockchains could easily be added to the network of networks. Quant is the freaking network of networks by creating a new payment channel with the UPC Hub. UPC specialized payment channels would be established off the blockchain and leverage smart contracts to communicate back with the various blockchain networks, delivering high transaction throughput, security, and reliability, and improving speeds overall. Now, for all you guys are saying, well, this is just Quant is just an ERC20 token. Again, this is why myself, Channing, you name it, have pointed out the RON and pointed out M10, because M10 through the RON interconnected with Quant's overledger allowed for what, Channing?
1.2 million transactions per second.
Boil it, mash it, stick it in steers.
Now look, y'all saw Gilbert's tweet. Y'all saw him calling it our project. Follow me on this. You guys just saw all the information associated with Visa's payment processing and CBDC platform being built out. Follow me on this, y'all. This is a big deal. Quant Network is a big deal. And they're not only working with the second largest payment processor in the world, they're working with the first largest payment processor in the world. Follow me on this. The amount, and that's not even talking about the central banks, the Federal Reserve of America, the Bank of England, the Bank of Australia, the Bank of Canada, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the Bank of Thailand, the People's Digital Institute of China. That's not talking about the AUE central bank and any other central bank that is associated with the Bank of International Settlements, tapping into Quant's interoperability, building out their CBDC platforms. It is mind-blowing. And to know Quant Network is right there. And for this not to be a closed door company, that we know about it openly, retail, and we have the opportunity to be a part of the network. This is possibly going to be the biggest, most profitable network in the world, because it's being built out and it's being literally governed by governments. Don't forget about TC307, which is the standard for building on blockchain. Don't forget about Safe Asset Transfer Protocol, which is the standard coming out of the IETF.
Until now, we've been applying our expertise in standards.
And all of this is being facilitated and brought to the world by Quant Network. Y'all, come on. I'm excited. Are y'all excited? I'm excited for 2025, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And you also heard that lady talk about the G20. And when you talking about the G20, the G7, the World Economic Forum, these are entities that shapes the world, y'all. And for Quant Network to be on the radar and have a seat at the table with these entities, it's incredible. Follow me on this, y'all. Quant Network is a big deal. And I'm going to keep saying it because so many people don't see the value in what Quant Network is bringing to the world. Or they see the value, but they say, oh, it's CBDCs, or oh, it's this, or oh, it's governance, or oh, they're going to be spying. Listen, when a government makes up its mind, they're going to do what they want to do, no matter how you feel about it, no matter how much upheaval comes with it, okay? So you can do two things. You can sit there, cry about it, and stay in the same position that you are, or you can see what's happening, capitalize on the information that's being submitted to you, and then live a better life because of it. Follow me on this. But until the next time, thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for tuning in. And y'all already know. Peace out.